Hello, and welcome to Etcher Studio. My name is Janet, and I am your host for today's live demo. We are here with artist Åsa Strand, who will be showing us how to paint a pearl ring with gouache. Etcher has a private Facebook group just for us. It's a fun way to connect with our artists and each other. If you make any art inspired by this live demo, post it there and Åsa will take a look. I'm putting the link in the chat. And now, everyone, please welcome Åsa.
Hi, everyone. Okay, are you ready today? Because we're going to paint a pearl, and we're going to explore some fun things about paint and how to make something come alive. So I'm going to switch to my board now. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do today. So this is a 3-step pearl. So we're going to start with the basic. We're going to transform it to pearl, and we're going to take the pearl to context and see what happens. And today we're going to only using the primary colors with gouache. And we're not going to blend in the well. This is Etcher's own well. It's quite good for this kind of exercise. Because we're not going to blend, we're going to have clear colors. And I'm using a 130 gram paper. And today I'm using a brush. It's a 0 brush, just a tiny one, because we're doing tiny work. So I've already started to put down the base on 2 of these pearls, because the perception of a man have of a pearl is usually it's white. You can see, you understand this is a pearl. But to take it up at 1 level, we're going to make this come alive. So we have a reference photo. I think it's in the description as well.
Yes, and I will also put it into the chat in case anyone wants to click on it there.
Exactly, I'm going to show you real quick here. The thing about painting for me is 80% of what I paint is actually the studying of the object I paint. So we're going to look at this pearl. It's a white pearl, and everybody understands this is a white pearl. But the thing is, there are many other colors in here. So I see yellow, I see some red purple, I see some blue, and we have the white. We have a low value, almost gray tone. It's brownish gray. And we see how the pearl is coming up. You see it's the height is here. So it's quite light around it. And we also see that the light is coming from here and it bounces back here. So we have 2 lights. We have some highlights here as well. So study what you paint. And if you study what you paint, you see what you are supposed to be doing. And it's the easiest way, because things aren't what they look like. And you have to fool the eye to make this come alive. And everything that's weird is probably right. So that's the approach today. So I've got my well with all my colors. From these colors, you can make anything, any color in the whole world. You don't need anything else but the primary colors. So primary yellow, primary red, blue, some white of your own choice, and some black of your own choice. It's no particular, just what you like. That's the main thing. So when you blend red and blue, you get purple, you get green, you get everything from this. But we're going to start. So I have set the foundation, just a thin layer of white gouache, just super thin. Okay, have some water on my, because the gouache is drying. Base, okay. Like that. So just a thin layer of white. not too much water on your brush, because we're going to blend every color on the paper. So the easiest thing when you're doing two of the same kind is to paint it at the same time. So you have to copy your own brush marks and build it up in steps. So in the reference photo, we see it was quite a lot of yellow, and I saw red and blue and white. So the basics is white, and after that I'm going to put down some yellow, just a thin layer. You see already it's kind of super yellow, and that's when we blend right on the paper. And that's the good thing about gouache, is that you can blend it. You can't blend it this way with watercolor, but it's much easier with gouache. You're just pushing the paint around. So I'm leaving the spaces where there's a lot of highlights and white. And I just paint where I see the yellow. Just following the reference photo. And if I think it's too thin, I can put in some more white to blend the yellow with white as well, just to softening up. And I'm doing it at the same time with both of the pearls. So that's my first layer. And then we have some more bit of a red purple layer. So again, just a tiny on your brush. Not a lot at all. Just pushing the paint around. And you see it's kind of super red at the point. Take some white. I'm going to soften that up as well. And blending on the paper. So I'm using my well just to pick up paint, nothing else. And I always blend on the paper just to get that soft feeling. Then I want to get this kind of brown thing we had at the end. So just a small amount of black. And just pushing it around. Again, blending. Just a tiny bit of black. And as I said before, I use gouache just because I can do this. I can push the paint around. And you can't actually do that with the watercolor, but I use the gouache as a watercolor by a small peck. And I like that because I can build up a painting. Then we had some blue in the highlights. And again, just a small amount. You don't need much. This is the cheapest way to paint is by using gouache in small amounts. So just put it on the edge here, where I see the blue from the highlights. And the thing is, when you have different kinds of light, you have warm lights and you have cold lights. So this all depends on if the photograph is taking a warm light or cold light. And I know this is taking in a cold light, so it's getting a bluish reflection instead of a yellow orangey reflection. And that's the difference. Sorry. So now I feel it's kind of too much yellow thing still here. So I'm starting to blending all this out. Just covering it up with some white. And again, just a small amount. So this is my base for this moment. And I'm going to push through with some white highlight.
And we do have a question from the chat. Are you using these paints straight from the tube? And how much water are you using?
Oh, just a small, tiny bit of water, just to get it moist so you can pick up the paint. You don't need, because I use a very thin paper. It's almost a copying paper. 130 grams is very small amounts of paper, very, very thin. So if you use a lot of water, the paper gets rugged. So I have to restrain myself all the time to really know what I'm doing. I'm pushing myself quite hard not to overdo it. That's why I use a thin paper. But I think you can use any paper that you want, but in these cases, when you're doing these small kind of things, do use a hot pressed paper that is smooth, because you don't want the lumps and bumps that could.
Okay.
It's very hard to paint over. So smooth paper, and you can absolutely use a thicker paper like a watercolor paper, cotton or whatever, everything that you feel comfortable with.
And I'm not sure if you had mentioned this yet, but is there a reason why you chose the craft brown color?
No, I just had it at home, so it became mine.
All right, that works.
Yeah, I liked it and I kept using it. So that's the only purpose or why I use the brown paper. So I buy it in bulks. It's a Swedish paper made in Gothenburg, and I like it. It's mine, and yeah, and that's the thing as well. You have to find your own materials. You have to find what you like and what you are comfortable with. It's very important. Just try different papers, try different materials or paints or brushes or whatever till you find what you like. It's because it's you. The painting is you. You're expressing by color who you are, and that's quite important. And that's also why I use primary colors. And that's the thing we're going to talk about in the workshop, is how you can express yourself through these colors, because if you use the primary colors, you're going to find your own palette. Instead of taking out of the tube, you're going to find what you like and how you see things. And in the workshop, we're going to do the same pearl in different kinds of way with the primary colors to find your expression of how you see things. And that is what art is for me, is how you express yourself. You express how you see the world. So that's going to be a quite fun workshop. At least I think so.
Yes, I'm excited about it too. I can't wait. And I'm going to put the link in the chat. It will be on Wednesday, October 20th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And don't worry if you can't make it live, if that is a time zone that doesn't quite work for you. The recording will be available and you can watch it anytime you like.
Yeah. So now we have 2 pearls. At least we think it's a pearl, or I tell you it's a pearl because I said it's a pearl, but it's still a blob with some colors in it. And we're going to fool the brain a little bit by just putting in a shadow. And this is the funny thing about people, is that we see what we are told to see, and I can change that. You have the you have the ability to change the perception of things by just adding things to a painting. So when I put this, it's just water and a very, very tiny little bit of black, and I do this shadow, and all of a sudden we have the context of a pearl sitting there and have the light coming from this way.
Wow.
So this is
that's
everything.
so cool.
Yeah, everything is smoke and mirrors in painting. We are like magicians. We tell you to see things and you accept it just by small, tiny things. So we're pointing you at it one way. When I did this, I pointed at the way, can you see the shadow is 3D? You can look around it if you want to. And as an artist, I have to understand that things have a backside and a side. It's not just a 2D thing, it's a 3D thing. And if I know how to fool the brain by doing this with small brush strokes, and that's what we're doing, especially in the form of realism, because in realism you have the hyperrealism that everything is to the pixel, but the kind of realism I'm painting is just, oh, it looks real. And I'm doing it by just putting down some paint and fooling you. And that's the interesting part. And that is also what we're going to talk about in the mini workshop, is how far you have to go and what you're supposed to do to get it done. Because you might think you have to do a lot, and I say you have to do 80% of what you're doing to make it look real. So that's the thing as well. So now we have a symbol of a pearl. We have okay, it might be a pearl. It has a shadow, it's 3D. And now we're going to put this in context even more, because you don't have to be too precious about things, because when you put it in the context, you're fooling the brain again. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to put a band of diamonds around this. So the pearl is sitting in something, probably, so that holds it down. So we're doing an edge around the pearl. And after that, we're going to do the band that holds the pearl. This is just black, nothing else, no blending. So all the way around, and don't be too precious about it. That's my motto in life. Nothing has to be perfect, because the perfection is in the imperfections. So we have a band as well here. And now I'm going to do some diamonds around it. Diamonds are small, sparkly. It's just diamonds. So.
And we have another question.
Yeah, sure.
How can I adjust this if I use white watercolor paper? Would you do anything different?
No, probably not. Do the same thing. It's just a paper. So here we go. It's a band of diamonds, but we're not done yet because we have to still fool the brain. So, oh, sorry about that. So I'm putting down some more black around the band because we're going to use it for the highlights. And we know the light is coming from here. So the white is also coming from here. So just by the band, smaller white amounts of white, where I know the light is hitting. And light is hitting here as well. So I'm just filling it in, and I'm not done yet. So take some more black. Just do it more broadly. So this is called a pave setting, when the diamonds are sitting in a band. So I have to do some prawns. So in between each and one of them, small dots of black. You don't have to be precious. Because in real life, nothing is exact. Nothing is by the millimeter perfect because you have light to play with. And that's why you don't have to be precious about it. So while that is drying, I'm going to have thin water and black, just a small amount, because the white in the diamonds is still kind of wet. So I'm just pushing a small amount of gray because I'm blending on the paper still. And we're going to give it some hard black as well. Just a small, tiny dots around it. And after that, we're going to hit it hard with white because you want the highlights in diamonds. So I'm just dotting it around, painting it over. And the ponds are probably dry now. So again, quite a lot of, not as much water on it. If you have wet paint still, it's great to do this because in each of those blacks, I'm going to put a small amount of white in it. And I'm keeping still from the light. So where I know the light is hitting, I'm putting in it. You can hardly see it, I'm so sorry, because I can see see it better than you can do it on the screen. And some more white in the diamonds. So all of a sudden you have a context. And if you put a shadow on this as well, and it stands up, you have the same thing. I'm washing it out with some water, just pushing it around. And you have a shadow as well.
I'm so intrigued by how you can take something that appears white. You think, in my head, I think, okay, pearl is white, but then I'm looking at it and I see so many colors and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, because nothing is what we think it is. It's a symbol. And that's what this is. This is a symbol, but it's more complex when you look at it. And the more you see the details in something that you do, the more real it gets. And if it looks weird, it's probably right. That's my motto in life. It looks weird, then it must be right. Because since nothing is perfect at all in nature or in life. So if you want to have the realistic approach to it or make it look realistic, you have to look kind of weird somewhere. If it's too perfect, it's too good to be true. And then we can use a computer instead. So that's my philosophy about it. So we're almost done here. And I haven't been precious with anything of this. I'm just putting down paint quite roughly, and you get this. Oh, sorry. I bumped you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The shadow just makes it.
Yeah.
And all those the light and shadow details, it's really outstanding.
Yeah. And it didn't take much. I haven't even blended anything of this. It's just with pure primary colors, nothing else. And the highlights. Just keep in mind where the light is coming from. That's the most important thing. To know where the light is and how things look if you go around it. You have to think in 3D and not just in 2D.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so let's talk about your mini workshop one more time.
Yeah, sure.
It is on Wednesday, October 20th at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's a 90-minute art class where she will be teaching us to paint a precious gem, just like this pearl. I looked at it. Do you know the name of it?
It's a Baroque pearl. This is what we're going to tackle in different kinds of way. So the approach is abstract realism, how to make something look real in an abstract kind of way. So we have a reference photos and we're going to, because it's many colors here. It's a lot of colors in this, and how to build it up. And the ways we can build it up, it's just not one way. And the thing is, I'm going to show you paintings here. This is 2 paintings of the same pearl, same photo, painted in 2 different days. So your mood is showing up in colors. That's why nothing never gets really the same, because you see the object differently in different days, depending on your mood, for instance, and you have to embrace that and go with that. So when I do this in the workshop, it won't look anything like this. It's going to be third way of seeing it. So when we're going to talk about why that is and how you can embrace that, we're also going to talk about the psychology of perspective, using that, and how the brain works when you see things and how you translate it to painting. We're also going to go push hard on your own strength and how your strength and personality can come through in painting, and how you can embrace your own style and how to achieve that and find your way. And different, as I said before, the different approaches to in painting. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Abstract painting and how you can approach that in realism, and how to make things look real by using the abstract and free painting. And we're also going to talk about it's not what you paint, it's what you're not painting. As you saw, I'm a minimalistic painter that can achieve a lot of things just with a small amount. And that also is a psychological twist on that, to understand. It's like music. It's not the verses, of course, or the notes that make the songs. It's the pauses in between and how we translate that into painting as well. And talk about the strengths of not being neat in painting, to be free in painting and still make it look neat and approachable. So it's going to be quite a different workshop, but we're going to dig deep, and I want to bring the best from you. And I'm so looking forward to seeing all the results, because nothing is going to look the same. And I'm going to see all the personalities come through, but it still looks real. So that was going to be really interesting.
And I'm excited about it too. And if you take a look through her Instagram, it's amazing to see all of the different things that she's done with it. I'm going to grab that link one more time and post it in the chat. She can work magic. I'm telling you, if these were real gems, she would be a billionaire.
Yes, I would. And some of the things I'm just making up as well. It's just not just painting what it is. I make things up So it's quite fun to make a stone that doesn't even exist and make it look real. So yeah.
Okay, let's see. All right, let's open it up for questions, ladies and gents. Oh, we did have a very sweet comment. It says, wow, she makes me want to try gouache.
Yeah, please do.
Very sweet. I want to do it too. Okay, what questions do we have? How did you start with doing the jewelry? How did you get started in doing gems?
I wanted to make a jewelry for myself, and I couldn't get the message through by verbally telling my goldsmith. So the best way is to paint, and I always loved shiny thing. I don't wear any jewelry at all, but I like the shiny thing, and I like to paint very very tiny things because I don't have the patience to do very big things. So jewelry was the best combination for me. Just making realism. I love making it, you know, pick up from the page and make it look real.
I absolutely love it. Okay, we have a question. Any tips on not lifting the bottom layer of gouache when layering colors on top?
Oh, just be precious. Not a lot of water, and just be very very light-handed. That's my take on it, because that's the negative thing about gouache. I use it to my advantage because I know what's happening, so I know when or when not to use it. That's one thing as well in the workshop we're going to do. It's one of the ways I'm going to show how to build layers in different kinds of way, with the gouache, with the underlayer and things. There are 2 or 3 different kind of ways to do that. So I'm going to talk about that in the workshop as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell about the workshop one more time, just so everybody remembers. October 20th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And if you can't make it, no worries. The recording will be there. And our workshops are $6 US. $6. You couldn't buy a pearl ring for $6. No way.
You can't buy a cup of coffee in Sweden for $6.
Yeah, you can barely get away with that here.
Yeah.
Okay, let me flip us back to these gorgeous pearls. And I will say thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you, Åsa, for this amazing demo. I'm so impressed with what you were able to produce, not only so quickly, but with such teensy amounts of paint.
Yeah, not a lot of paint. Oh, it's been lovely. And if people are doing this, please post on Instagram and tag the studio, because I would love to see it, what you can make.
And that goes back to our Facebook group. If you did something, post it there, and Åsa will take a peek.
Yeah.
And finally, tell us how we did today. We would like to know how about your experience. And we do, of course, always check and read the responses. And then finally, one more time before we go, before you leave, pop into the comments, not the chat, but the actual comments, wait till we end. We would like to know what would be your favorite gem or your favorite jewelry to paint, like in this style. So that's what we want to see. My personal choice would be emeralds. Those are my favorite.
Oh yes, I love emerald. Oh God.
Yes, nice. Love the green.
Yeah.
Okay, Åsa, thank you ever so much. I appreciate your time, and I cannot wait for your mini workshop.
Yeah.
And until next time, everyone, make more art.
Yay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. That was